delegating and assigning tasks to team members, it's important to be aware of those kind of two factors in relation to the individual team member and the task you're assigning. So the things we need to consider is how skillful are they in that task, or how experienced are they in that particular situation scenario. So basically that's their competency. And then the other factor we need to kind of consider is how aware are they of that skill level, what is referred to as the consciousness. So this slide is actually where we've kind of suggest what's perhaps the most appropriate leadership approach may be for an individual, depending on which of the four quadrants they sit in relation to this specific task that you are looking to assign or delegate. So if a team member's in that kind of first stage of competency development, so they aren't actually fully aware of the extent of the learning journey, they're not really aware of how much they've got to kind of learn. It's that thing, we don't know what we don't know kind of scenario. So we like to suggest that the most appropriate kind of approach there is what we call that kind of the blue or the instructional approach. That might be the most appropriate. And then as they begin to learn about the extent of the learning that's actually required in order to become kind of competent in this role, this new task, then we move into a more agreed or an educator approach, as we would call it. Continuing on that development journey, and although the competency level has grown, the team member is still at that stage where they've constantly got to be thinking about what they're doing, thinking about each of the individual steps. So this is where we would suggest a more of a yellow encourager style becomes more appropriate. And then finally, the team members develop that high level of competence and no longer really needs to be actively thinking about every single step of the task. And this is more where that red authorizer style is most appropriate.